You must have seen a lot of revenge manga or anime before today. Very famous ones like Attack on Titan, Berserk, Code Geass, many things like that. Like my favorite revenge anime, Redo of Healer. Okay, it also has some revenge, but the revenge is next level. But in a lot of revenge stories, something different happens in the future, like a supernatural power appears, or the protagonist is banging every chick. But imagine we have a perfect revenge story. I said, imagine. Because I know nothing is ever perfect. A boy who has been bullied a lot. What do you say? Relatable? He was beaten. He was tortured. Even the bullies killed his parents and burned his brother alive, just to see how much a human is capable of tolerating. Bro, this is insane. But this thing is known to his most special person, his grandpa. And now, he trained the kid so that he can take revenge on them so brutally that no one could even dream of it. So today, I have Juujika no Rokunin, in which this boy gets revenge for his parents. And the further this manga goes, the more brutal and scary it gets. It also has some torture, rape, murder, and adult scenes. So obviously, I can't show you everything, or YouTube would delete us instantly. So, this story starts with a boy named Uruma Shun, who is currently 12 years old, and he is bullied by a gang of 5 kids from his school, Kuga Daichi, Yushiro, Yuga Madhava, Hiro Sanakoji, and their leader, Shigoku Kyo. Now, this Kyo is their leader. He wants to be a killer who kills without any reason. Now, he has made Uruma his test subject. Experiment Subject A. And now, he tortures him daily and wants to take him to such a level that Uruma commits suicide. Because he wants to see what the limit of human tolerance is and how far he can tolerate things. That is why sometimes they throw him in the river. Sometimes they strangle him and stop his breathing. But even after all this, Uruma remains very strong and does not tell anything to anyone at home. Well, this is also called stupidity. He should have told his parents earlier, but those people have scared him so much that he doesn't want his family to be involved in it. One day, Uruma finds a cute cat, plays with it, and becomes very attached to it. Seeing this, Kyo and his gang capture the cat and release it into the forest where a wild bear was. When Uruma goes to find it, it's too late. Seeing it die, Uruma breaks down. Afterward, at home, he breaks down in front of his younger brother. He finally tells his parents about his bullies, but still doesn't reveal their names. Afterward, his parents transfer him to another school. He goes to school peacefully for a few days, but those bullies return again. This time, Kyo plans to cause an accident for his parents' car. He was standing with Hiro on the road. As soon as their car arrives, he pushes Hiro in front of their car. Uruma's mother is inside, and the car swerves, and it falls straight into a ditch. Kyo, who had been in their car and brought fire, is now involved in this accident. Uruma's parents are killed, and his brother survives, but he was completely burned and went into a coma. After all this, Uruma was completely finished, and he was thinking, should I also die now? Now, Uruma goes to live with his grandfather, and there at night, he goes to his storeroom, where he had kept a lot of weapons. He goes there and picks up a gun. Then his grandfather comes there and asks him for the gun, but he does not give it to him and angrily tells him, I will kill them all and I will not let anyone else take my revenge. Then his grandfather says, so you will kill such desperate people so easily? If you have to take revenge, then you should kill them by torturing them properly. I never told you that I was in a special secret service squad of the Japanese government during World War II, and we were taught how to kill people. So, from today onwards, I will train you and make you capable so that you can take the revenge on them, which you really want. And then, time passes, and 4 years pass. We are shown Uruma, whose grandfather has trained him to become a perfect warrior, and now he is ready to take revenge on those 5. We are shown that his brother is still in a coma. Afterward, he goes to school, where we see that he still maintains his image as a good kid. 2 members of the gang still bully him in public, but this kind of pushing and shoving is not the kind of torture. A girl in his class, Ajuma, is returning from school. A man comes up from behind and tries to assault her, but Uruma comes and kicks him. He reaches out to attack him with a knife, but within a second, he is on the ground before he realizes it. Then, Uruma kicks him in the face, knocking him unconscious. Uruma then tells Ajuma not to tell anyone what happened. After she leaves, he kills the man with his knife. He says, Grandpa, I can do this. I can kill people. He goes home and tells his grandfather what he had done today. Now his grandpa says, now you're ready. He sees Koji, his first target from the gang of 5 bullies. He then remembers his past. When he was in elementary school, he didn't have many friends. He met Koji and was friendly with him, and they became friends. But then one day, he showed his true colors. He enjoyed killing and torturing insects. Uruma says, this must be the one who killed my kitten that day. He decides to make him his first target. But that same day, as he's returning home, Koji comes to him and starts talking to him nicely. They go out together on Sundays, holding his hand and taking him everywhere. At one point, Uruma wonders, bro, has he really changed? And in my opinion, he hasn't changed much. I mean, his hands. He is holding on to his, and clinging to his like this. Is he still a boy? And then Uruma goes straight to him and asks him, what did you do to me in elementary school? On hearing this, he bows down and starts apologizing and says, forgive me for whatever I did at that time. I have really changed now. Then he saves a cat from a truck on the road, and seeing this, Uruma is shocked that this guy is risking his life to save a cat. Then he says it's fine, and Azuma comes from behind and catches Uruma. Taking advantage of this distraction, he throws a stone at Uruma and knocks him unconscious. Now, when his eyes open, he looks to the side. He had tied Azuma along with him. Then Kuji shows his real face and strangles the cat to death. Then Kuji tells him that he had the video of your friend Azuma from that day. That is why she helped me on my request. Then Uruma was trying to untie those ropes. Then Kuji tells him, I didn't tie these ropes like normal ones. These knots are called killer of escape. They used to use them during the Edo period to grab the waistband. You won't be able to open them. Then he starts hitting him. Azuma intervenes and tries to stop him. Koji takes out a nail gun and fires it at her, scaring her so much that he nails her pants. Then he drives nails into Uruma's legs and chest. He yells at him and asks him how he feels now, but Uruma's face didn't show a single expression. Then he angrily starts choking him. Then Uruma unties the ropes, frees himself, and pushes him back. He tells him, a person has 68 joints, and I can control them all easily. Then he readjusts his hand and squeezes his throat so tightly that he faints within seconds. When he regains consciousness, he finds himself in a room with Uruma. Uruma says, congratulations, you're the first. Kuji notices that the room is very hot and a peeler is placed on a table in front of him. Uruma brings a gun and tells him, you shot me with a similar gun. Don't you know how much pain it caused me? I had to remove the skin and remove the pellets. Now, he takes a slit near his eye and his condition worsens. He pleads, I didn't do anything. Hugh-chan made me do all this. I never wanted to do this. Take me to the police. I'll tell them the truth. Uruma then tells him, didn't you notice why you're feeling so hot? We are then shown that his grandfather told him about a peeling technique. Then he shows Kuji in the mirror that he removed his skin while he was unconscious. In this technique, you're supposed to remove 0.02 millimeters of skin from the surface of the human body and then the nerves inside us. It becomes visible, and after that, if someone even touches our skin, then it feels as if the whole body is on fire. And then, as soon as Uruma touches him, he starts writhing in pain. After that, he fires at him with an air gun, and literally, he feels so much pain that his skin bursts. And due to this pain, he goes crazy and starts laughing and says, Hugh-chan taught me to have fun. That first, you get attached to something, love it, and then kill it. There is a different kind of fun in it. I really enjoyed watching your suffering when your parents died. In reality, Hugh-chan manipulated him and took out his true self. And Uruma says, finally, you told the truth. And then he keeps shooting at him, after which his body cannot bear the pain. Now, he comes back and throws Azuma out of there and tells her not to tell anyone about this. And after going home, he lies down exhausted. His grandfather says that it is very good and to leave the cleaning work to him. Later, the news of Kuji's disappearance reaches the police, where a police sergeant, Anzai, starts investigating the second target with his assistant, Asaka. Now, Uruma goes towards his second target, Yushiro, who runs a prostitute club, which means he is a pimp. Now, one of those prostitute girls comes and tells Yushiro that she has to quit this work. Then, he lovingly takes her out and kisses her. And while kissing, he bites her tongue with his teeth, drawing blood. Then, holding her tongue, he sets it on fire from the bottom with a lighter and tells her not to even think of quitting again. Then, the girl starts apologizing to him. Then, he leaves her and hugs her lovingly and says, I need you. Don't do this again. Now, he gets a message from Q-chan on his phone, calling him for a meeting at 6 o'clock. Now, on the other side, Detective Anzai reaches Uruma's house. He is here because, 4 years ago, Uruma filed a police complaint against those 5 bullies. Now, one of the men from that group, Koji, is missing. Anzai suspects Uruma might be involved. He might be seeking revenge on them. However, there's no proof against him. So they leave. Q and the other 3 meet under a bridge, and Q tells them that it's been a while since Kuji disappeared, so he might be dead. When Yuga tells him that he last met Uruma, Q becomes suspicious that he might have killed him. This makes Q-chan happy. Then, we see Anzai visit Yushiro at his prostitute club. Meanwhile, Uruma was investigating Yushiro. It's revealed that Yushiro had maintained a very nice personality at school and even had a girlfriend. However, she's been missing for a few months, and since then, Yushiro has become quite depressed. Now, on the other hand, we see Azuma sitting in his club, and everyone was hitting on her. But in reality, Azuma had come to meet her friend who worked there. After meeting her, she finds out that she is very obsessed with Yushiro and would do anything for him. Then, Azuma is in the restroom, and the guy who was hitting on her comes there and tries to force himself on her. Then, Yushiro comes and saves her. Then, he goes to an apartment where a room is shown in which he has kept his girlfriend, Karen, chained up, the same girlfriend who had been missing for so many months. He says that there is no other girl like you, because I cannot let you belong to anyone else. So yes, he is so obsessed with her that he has locked her up like a thing. Then he does something with her. Then we see Azuma following him there, and she sees everything through the window. Yushiro then notices that someone is outside. Then Azuma runs back to his club, but Yushiro catches her and is about to kill her when a man comes from behind, and Yushiro backs off. He tells her that her first job has come. Yushiro sends her to her first job. When she arrives at the hotel, Uruma is waiting for her. She thinks Uruma is a bit that type. He calls call girls like this. He tells her that he couldn't call any girls. He had to save her, so he secretly called her. She tells him where Yushiro has kept his captive. Then Uruma remembers his past, where Yushiro sexually assaulted him. Then Azuma confesses to Uruma and says, I like you. Uruma says, thank you, Azuma, but sorry, I don't have time for all this. I still have 4 more people to kill. Then we are shown that Yushiro had put a transmitter on Azuma's bag, which allows him to listen to their conversations. He calls several men to his club and sets a trap, waiting for Uruma to arrive. He then calls his dangerous friend, Gano, and sends him to the room where Azuma was. Gano immediately takes off his clothes and tries to force himself on Azuma, but Uruma comes to rescue her. He was wearing a helmet so that she wouldn't know who he is. Uruma attacks him, but Gano is so dangerous that he punches him and throws him out. He has no other option, as his grandpa had taught him how to deal with such situations. He then makes a hand sign and attacks him, dislocating his shoulder, leaving his hand useless. He also breaks his other shoulder, ties him up, and locks him in the restroom. As he tries to leave, Azuma kisses him, but he quickly pushes her back. Later, at Uruma's request, Azuma calls the police, who arrest Gano and take him away, but Gano keeps calling Yushiro's name. Anzai remembers that it's the name of one of the 5 bullies. Meanwhile, Uruma arrives outside his club, and his men are waiting for him inside. Yushiro was sitting very relaxed and calm, confident that he would easily kill Uruma. Then, one of his men calls Yushiro and informs him that there is a fire at the storeroom entrance, and all the men there are unconscious. Then, another explosion occurs in their kitchen, and everyone starts to panic, thinking that someone planted a bomb there. Fearing this, all the men start running away. Then Uruma enters and grabs him and takes him away. Outside, Anzai watches the club burn. Then shown that Uruma has kept Yushiro naked in a dark room, but he wasn't afraid. Then Uruma shows him a torture tool used in medieval times called the Pear of Anguish. The device looks like a flower with a lever underneath. As you turn the lever, the device opens in a way you can guess which hole he's placed the torture tool in. Yes. Behind. He inserts it and slowly opens it. Yushiro screams horribly. He opens it completely, turning his hole into a cave. You can tell by his face, and it's not over yet. Now comes round 2. Uruma turns on the lights in the room, and Yushiro is shocked to see that it's the same room where he kept his Karen captive. Then Karen emerges, holding a smaller version of the Pear of Anguish. Then she inserts the pin into the hole in the tool, and then she slowly turns the lever and opens his flower as well. He bleeds profusely and nearly dies from the pain. After that, Karen kills herself by inserting the tool into her throat because she was actually in love with Yushiro. He was her first love, and seeing him in this state, she was devastated and had nothing to live for. Seeing this, Yushiro also realizes how much she truly loved him. He cries and confesses to him when Uruma kicks him in the face and says, "You don't even have the right to cry for her." After that, he takes Karen's body and buries it. He, along with his grandpa, completely destroys Yushiro's body, meaning he crushes even his bones and blows them into the air, completely eradicating them from existence. And that's where today's video ends. This manga is still ongoing, and I've only covered the beginning chapters here. I really want to take this series all the way to the end with you guys. If you watched till now, you definitely don't want to miss the next part, because that's where things get absolutely insane. We'll witness the brutal deaths of Kugi, Hiro, and their leader Kyu, and the plot twist during Kyu's death is going to blow your mind. So here's the deal. If you complete 50 comments on the video and 100 subscribers on the channel, I'll drop part 2. Otherwise, I'll take it as a sign that this manga isn't what you guys want, and I'll move on to another one. The choice is yours. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.